Good afternoon. My name is Don Matheson. I was up on my website, wakeupcanada.info, a short while ago, so we'll avoid all the introductions. This is almost 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon on the 19th of April. Excuse me, sorry. I have quite a dry throat. I'm not sure why, but it makes the message sound a little different. It's another great day. It's 18 above. Tomorrow, Monday, it's supposed to be 19 above. We're going to do another podcast on Monday as well. This one will be a little short. I'm coming to you from Lacombe, Alberta, as a member of an old senior citizen. But again, I'm going to say I'm old, but I'm happy. But I'm not at all happy with what's going on in Canada. I just listened to a speech by Mark Carney, our so-called new Prime Minister. He talks about we. Almost every breath he says we Canadians. Where the hell has Mark Carney been to call himself we? Just about every platform he's talking about now, he has taken from the Progressive Conservative Party, and mostly under Pierre Poilievre. So he keeps saying we. You got into Parliament by a back alley deal, Mark Carney. But the government says it's okay. Almost every party politics has said it's okay to do that. So I guess I have to accept that. Do I like it? No, I don't. But I'm just an old civilian, Carney. You're the Prime Minister of Canada. And you keep making promises. You've been in power now a year, and you've come through with none of them. So I guess my mother's phrase would be, the rich get richer and the poor get forgotten. Just remember, Carney, you're the guy that likes $6,000 and $12,000 suits. So who are you talking to in Canada that wears those, Carney? You've been all over the world doing nothing for Canada. And now you're going to pretend that you're doing all these things as a Canadian? Wow. And I'm tired of listening to members of Parliament say, or a journalist that has no journalistic qualities at all, saying, well, Poilievre's done for. No, he's not. Excuse me. In order to have a good government, we need a real strong opposition to keep them in step. And Canada, who the hell are you going to find if it isn't the Progressive Conservative Party under Pierre Poilievre? If you watch the House and watch Carney try and spar back and forth with Poilievre, Carney has become another Justin Trudeau. He's just a little older. He likes to ridicule people in the House. He doesn't stick to principles. He wanders off and laughs on personalities. When are we going to wake up as Canadians? He talks about, well, we got to do something more because our American neighbors are not the best people to deal with. Does he not think I'm aware of that? So what are you going to do to help settle that, Carney? Yeah. It's going to take you years to establish it. You might get a little luck and get a few. But that's our closest neighbor, from border right from one end of Canada to the other. That we deal with $1 trillion worth of industry and trade. And you're going to dish them and say, well, you don't like them? Well, I do. So why don't you sit your butt down and talk properly with them and try and resolve the issue we have between Canada and the United States right now. We can use all the other countries to deal with as well on top of that. But for you to say, well, no, I'm not going to deal with the United States. I'm going to deal with all these other countries. What the hell's the matter with you, Carney? You ride in here and throw your hands up in the air. You talk a real sweet talk. But you're like any politician out there, especially in the Liberal government. You talk the talk, Carney, but you don't walk the walk. And you sure as hell don't identify with every Canadian citizen that's suffering from high food prices, poor unemployment, mortgage payments, high interest. And you're going to step out and say, well, I'm going to promise you all this. Where the hell have you been, Carney? Okay. You have almost tripled our debt right now. You yourself. Just in food on aircraft. You're the sickening little man that makes all the promises but does nothing. And right now I think you have the Canadians, a lot of the seniors eating right out of your hand and buying right into your discussions. But you don't fulfill any of these promises, Carney. Am I aware that Rome wasn't built in a day? But it came down pretty fast, didn't it? And for you to go back in our history and pretend that you were back there then, man, oh man, you got gall. You got real, utter gall to talk the way you do. So when are you going to step up, Carney, and put a face on some of these things you're talking about? You are dividing this country. You're not bringing it together. And for the everyday person that's counting on you, they're going to starve to death before you get anything in. You're the little guy that's so sickening, Carney, because you don't commit and fulfill anything you promise. And I'm going to just step aside for a sec. I had said on a prior podcast that I had received some correspondence, some shirts and clothing from a deceased young lad from the coroner's office. Those shirts were given by the coroner to a police officer that gave them to the mother and father that gave them to me. So I'm going to correct that right now. But in a nutshell, they came from the coroner's office and I ended up with them through due change of how exhibits are handled. So how does that change the death of this young man? I am aware that that coroner's report is in the mail, and I will have it shortly. And then we're going to really go up on a podcast for you, and then I'm going to really talk about what's going on inside the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, because I don't like it at all. Right. Do I think Mike DeHame is trying? Well, he's not trying hard enough. And I'm going to explain to you what a detachment is, what a town contract is, what different communities in Alberta are under a subdivision that's under a commanding officer. I don't think you people even understand how the hell the structure is in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So I think, to be fair to you, I am going to explain that to you, and then you'll understand a little bit more about it. I've had so many people say to me, are you telling me, Don, that a superintendent is in charge over 14 other detachments in Red Deer subdivision? I am telling you that. Okay. So how does Red Deer subdivision change if that superintendent doesn't change? You'll have her name shortly. And then I'm going to go to British Columbia, where men with 18 and 19 years of service are coming out to tell you how bad it is with chief superintendents, two of which I had to deal with personally. And 8 years later, these men and women wearing boots on the ground are dealing with the same issues, but nothing has changed. I've been given a gift to have my life back. I'm not as well as I'd like to be, okay? Yet, it takes time for some things to heal when the surgery's within inside, not outside. But it's coming and progressing me very nicely. And I didn't want to wait a long time. It seems my podcasts are too far apart. And when I'm watching the people out there that are getting credit for credit that is not due to them, it really rankles me. Okay. And when it comes to politicians, I'd like to stay out of it. But unfortunately, I can't. especially when we have our current Prime Minister talking about all the great things he has done. Maybe it's best he started telling us what he has done instead of what he intends to do. I may sound a little bit antsy right now because I am. I'm sick and tired of listening to men like Mark Carney take credit for things he's never done. And it's a promise in the future that he's going to do this. So where the hell's this pipeline, Mark? Where is it? I think my mother said it best when she says, the rich get richer and the poor get forgotten. And if you can't help someone, son, don't hurt them. Those are pretty simple ways to live by. And the dirty-minded way that you got into politics and got to be Prime Minister, Carney, there are very few Canadians voted for you. You slid in the back door. But Parliament says that's okay to do this. But I'm looking forward to you having to face Pierre Poilievre in the House of Commons instead of you with a big smirk grin, laughing and creating all kinds of jokes. That's not what the House of Commons is for, but that's what your Liberal Party has become. So when are you going to try and straighten your own organization out, Carney? It gets a little sickening listening to you after seeing what we had in Justin Trudeau. You're just an older version of him, but you're the same guy. So when can I expect some decency out of you, Carney, instead of real high nicety speeches? Again, you love your $6,000 to $12,000 suits. Who are you going to wear them for in Canada? Stop taking credit, Carney, for things that you shouldn't get credit for, and start establishing your own. Again, it's a really nice afternoon here. I'd prefer not to be talking about this. I am sick and tired of politicians that promise the moon but can't even deliver a light in a bedroom. And quit taking credit for we. We Canadians have done a lot of things, Mark Carney. Why didn't you attend a Canadian university? I don't want to go personally, Prime Minister, but when I learned what you and your good wife, which I know the decision must not have been that easy. She's 24 now, and 9 years ago you put her in a care home. Was that in her best interest? The care home got charged with criminal charges. What happened to her? Have you got that straightened around yet? So don't start lecturing everybody else about the things they have to do, Carney. Start doing some of them yourself. Like I say, I would prefer to be doing something I enjoy. The emotional level creates a stress that I'm not supposed to deal with right now. Oh, too bad, Don. Yeah, it is too bad. Okay. I have to monitor my blood pressure to make sure things are healing. And talking emotionally about people who want to take credit for everything, but have done nothing yet. And I think the saddest thing we can do is to ignore the American people. They have been our neighbors for years. So we're having a lot of high tariffs. You're supposed to be the wheeler dealer, Carney. So why don't you get in there and negotiate those tariffs gone? Or sit down with President Trump and work out a program and a policy that Canadians can abide by. They are the closest trading partner we have in the world. So you're going to walk out on $1 trillion worth of trade? I know you're working deals with other countries, so let's have those in addition to it, just in case things get a little worse, not better. And where we're heading right now is we're about to get worse, not better. And I don't know how you in a $12,000 suit can talk to me, Mark Carney. You haven't come down off that high horse you're on yet. And your little flowering speeches aren't going to handle it much longer. So, And for the judge that has just come forward, I think that really gave me a lot of extra energy that I was starting to lose, not just because of my illness, that has come forward and condemned the court system and the judicial system, period, for the hypocrisy that they've been doing within our courts. I'll have his name for you on my next podcast, which will be tomorrow morning sometime. But we may delay that for a couple of days, because by that time I'll have the coroner's report in my hand. So I'm not going to leave you, the public out there, thinking that you're okay. You're not okay. Where the hell have you people been that you have allowed this to happen within your own country? My country, my Canada, my home. So, when are you going to stand up, public? Okay. I've seen my share of brown noses and suck-ups mostly all my career, no matter the profession I've been in. And I think it's time that the proof was in the pudding. I guess that's the old saying, isn't it? Or people that commit and promise to things that they start being held accountable for. You sucked my premier right into a deal that you don't intend to carry. How many permits have been granted for this pipeline? What's the lay of the pipeline that you're going to put in? You're a great talker, Mark Carney. I don't believe a damn word you say anymore. Okay? You're full of all kinds of promises. And I think that's attributed to you mostly being in the Liberal Party of Canada. How many cabinet people have you moved out so you could start something fresh? You can't afford that because you're going to lose seats. So now that you're in, we're going to be stuck with you for what, another 3 years? I hope not. I pray to God not. You decide you want to get down and get like a Canadian and be a little more humble, Carney. Then you can start talking. Okay. So, this is Don Matheson from Lacombe, Alberta, sitting a cloudy day, but a very pleasant day. And tomorrow will be 19 or 20 above. So we'll be back to you tomorrow, okay? So, my normal salutation to you, excuse me, is good health, much happiness, take care, stay well. That's not a request, that's an order.